What's up, YouTube? We're going to talk video games again today. Today, we're going to talk about the PS4 Slim, the base model, versus the Xbox One S, the base model. And we're going to compare them, and we're going to talk about them head-to-head and how they compare in 2020. So, how do the Xbox One S and the base model PlayStation 4 Slim compare in 2020? Now, both Xbox and PS4 and PlayStation are going to be releasing new hardware at the end of the year, Christmas this year, but we did a video a little while back to ask whether or not it was worth buying a PS4 in 2020. Most people seem like they say it is. They're getting a lot of use out of their PS4 still, myself included. I just recently picked up an Xbox One S from somebody on Craigslist for super cheap. It's just the base model 500 gigabyte one, but it does have the disc drive. I needed the one with the disc drive. I think discs are important. Anyway, so in 2020, which one's better still? Clearly the PS4 won out the generation of consoles, but Xbox really has picked it up over the last couple of years and really has done some nice things and done some really cool stuff. So I guess let's get into it and see how they match up head to head. So first let's talk technical stuff and let's talk about the systems themselves. So the PlayStation 4 boasts 1.84 teraflops GPU, and that's just the base model. That's pretty good. 1.84, that's actually more powerful than the Xbox One S. Xbox One S is 1.4 teraflops. The original one, the fat boy, the first one that came out was only 1.31 teraflops. So the One S is actually more powerful than the original Xbox that came out, just by a little bit, by a tenth of a teraflop, which is probably like a lot, kind of. Anyway, the menus are a lot smoother, and the One S really is an upgrade. It's a pretty solid upgrade for cheap. To the original ones, which, if you had to replace yours mid-generation when the Slim models came out because your original one started to become a dog, the One S really is a solid upgrade. But on the other side, the PlayStation, at least the base model, is more powerful. Now, they both have Pro models. The Xbox has the Xbox One X, and that boasts 6 teraflops. But nobody really uses all of that, but that sort of future-proofs it a little bit. And we'll get into why that's important in a second. Whereas the PlayStation 4 Pro is about 4 teraflops, which is still impressive, and still runs things really, really, really well. Done talking about power, what looks better? Well, so if you go through and look at games that have come out over the last 5-6 years, for the most part, games have looked and played and run better on the PlayStation 4, for the most part. Now, again, with the Xbox One X, if you have a 4K TV, you can certainly get more out of your games, and you can play them in 4K, some of them. If you have a better TV and you have a One X, you can get your games to look better on an Xbox One X. But if we're just looking at base models, games all play better, and they all look better on the PS4 this generation. It was actually the opposite last generation. Pretty much every game played better that came out for both systems on the Xbox 360. And while there were better looking games on the PS3, particularly towards the end of the generation, think The Last of Us, the majority, like if you think Skyrim, for example, looked and played better on the Xbox 360 when it was originally released. It just did. It's kind of the opposite. Pretty much everything looks better on PS4 in the current generation, except for stuff that just came out that's optimized for the Xbox One X. A good example of that would be if you bought the new Call of Duty and you are into playing huge maps, because I think they can do 64 versus 64 now or something like that. It's like 120 people or something crazy like that. They're big maps with a lot of people. And if that's what you are into and that's what you spend your most of your time playing, that runs and looks and plays the best on the Xbox One X because it was sort of modified for and spec'd up to run well on the Xbox One X because it uses a ton of hardware. That being said, still plays great on the PS4 Pro. and it actually kind of runs like a dog on the base model systems. It runs a little better on the PS4, but from what I've seen back and forth, if you really want to play high resolution, high frame rate, large online multiplayer, you kind of need to upgrade to a Pro or a 1X to really get the most out of it. Runs better on that. It's not really... You get some lag for sure on the base models. So that's hardware itself. Hardware, you know, other than the 1X, the PlayStation, particularly price-wise, kind of edges out the Xbox. So let's talk about price, though. Price is a big deal. And over this in 2020, because we're talking about it current day, they're both priced similarly. You get an Xbox One S for $250 now. They were as cheap as like $200 during Christmas time. And you get a PS4 Slim for about $250. They both come with a controller. These are not the original controllers. I have a problem with controllers. Anyway, I have too many controllers, and it's a problem. Anyway, so it makes sense, you know, they come with a controller. Originally, the PlayStation came with a headset as well. I don't think they do anymore, but originally they did. The Xbox just comes with a controller in the box with all the hookups and the HDMI and all that stuff. But it's still at $250. It's a great price for those because they both come with games. I think Xbox comes with Sea of Thieves. I know it comes with Minecraft. Mine came with Crash Bandicoot and the Bendy and the Ink Machine and Roblox, which I think is free anyway on Microsoft. But PlayStation now bundles Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War, and The Last of Us HD Remastered, which, quite frankly, those are better games. So as far as the bundles are concerned, PlayStation comes with better games. The Microsoft stuff comes with more games, which is cool. But the PlayStation one comes just with more with better games. God of War was Game of the Year. Horizon Zero Dawn was Game of the Year before that. And I'm pretty sure The Last of Us was Game of the Year at some point as well. Phenomenal games. Well worth every second of your time to get through them. And for $250 to get 3 of the best games ever released ever, plus the system that clearly kind of won the generation, it's a great price. So the PlayStation kind of has a better bundle, but the Xbox bundle is still very good. This is not for me to crap on either on Xbox or PlayStation at all, really. This is just sort of a side-by-side comparison because now I do have both, and I've spent a good bit of time with both of them. So, moving on, let's talk about the games. This is also, I think, where Xbox really stumbled, where Microsoft really stumbled this generation, is they don't have many first-party games. I mean, you have Halo. The newest Halos are actually pretty good. You know, for whatever nostalgia, because the Xbox 360 Halo stuff was great. And the 343 Studios stuff was fantastic. But the new Halo stuff's very good. I can't knock it at all. Really enjoyed the Master Chief Collection. Really enjoy Guardians. The story's a little meh, but as far as gameplay is concerned, it's awesome, and really like using this controller for shooters. We'll actually talk about the controllers next, but really like using this controller for shooters. Gears of War 4 was fun. Gears 5 is great. It's probably the best exclusive on Xbox One. It's Gears 5. Gears 5 is great. The Forza series, both Motorsport and Horizon. Forza Horizon 3 is so fun. Like, I get lost for hours in Forza Horizon 3. It's so good. It's cool to have, like, cool RPG elements in a racing game. It's a little more arcadey than the Gran Turismo series, which is another favorite of mine for PlayStation. But Forza Horizon is fantastic. Really like it. Haven't played 4 yet, but I'm just like spending tons of time in 3 still. So I don't know. I'll get to 4 eventually, I suppose. But other than that, I mean, they really don't have too many huge titles that are really worth, you know, your time. So if we're talking about exclusives, I mean, PlayStation's got them edged out. So the PlayStation exclusives, you have Spider-Man, you have God of War, you have Gran Turismo Sport, you have Horizon Zero Dawn, The Last of Us, Uncharted. I'm probably forgetting a bunch of other ones, but I mean, those are all like Game of the Year candidates. They were fantastic games. Bloodborne, Ghost of Tsushima's coming out soon. There's gonna be, I mean, as far as exclusives are concerned, if you had an Xbox, but you missed out on whatever 6 years now of PlayStation exclusives, it might behoove you to go pick up a PlayStation just to play those exclusives because they're so good, especially if you're sort of like dwindling down on your Xbox. But the PlayStation edges out, not even edges out, it far and away is better as far as exclusives are concerned for the system. Now, the games that come out for both systems, you're going to have pretty similar experiences. Like I said, they're going to look a little better on PlayStation, but they play really well on both systems. I've played through Tomb Raider on my Xbox, and it looked and played great on the Xbox. Both Rise of the Tomb Raider and Shadow of the Tomb Raider looked and played great on the Xbox, and no complaints there. So, I mean, it's not that anything plays bad on the Xbox, it's just that you could play just as well or better. But let's talk about the controller, because the controller is probably the most important part of play. So, I think the Xbox controller is the best controller, and I don't think anybody's going to disagree with me on that. The only thing I'll knock it for is the fact that it takes batteries and doesn't charge. I know that that's kind of maybe more reliable. I don't know. I sort of wish it charged, because if it dies and it's like I don't have 3 batteries or 2 batteries or whatever, the 2 AA batteries, I have to like stop what I'm doing and go buy batteries, and sometimes I can't do that at 2 in the morning. So, I do wish it charged, but I guess you could plug it in via USB if it comes down to it and just play wired. But the controller also doesn't come with a plug. I guess it probably does if you buy it, if you have the controller that comes with it, but I just got an Xbox when I bought it on Craigslist, so kind of a weird dynamic there, but we'll talk about that later. But this is absolutely the best controller. The triggers rumble. The triggers are better too than these are like what stands out. Like buttons are buttons. Buttons work fine. It's just whatever layout you prefer, but it's really the triggers. And the triggers on the Xbox rumble. They rumble independently. You get independent side rumbles, so if something's happening on this side of you, this side's going to rumble. Something happens over here, this side's going to rumble. The triggers rumble. The bumpers rumble. It's really the better controller. It's more precise. It's just better. That's not to say that the PlayStation controller is not good. This is the best PlayStation controller that PlayStation's ever put out. I kind of really didn't like the PlayStation 3 controller. I thought it was too small. It was flimsier than the PlayStation 2 one, despite it being the same controller, more or less. And it felt like a downgrade just to get it wireless. But this was a nice step up. It feels more sturdy than the PS3 controller. And the rumble's good. It's not as good as the Xbox. But you can plug it in and charge it. And I like the light bar. It looks good. I know they're not going to have it next generation, because the sensitivity and that is not going to be, the sensors is not going to be a thing anymore, because people didn't like it and nobody really used it. I don't know what they're going to do with the pad coming up. Nobody again really used the pad either, but it's got some neat features, some neat ideas, but at the same time, I think it ended up being a little more gimmicky, and most developers didn't really use it. So those are the controllers. Like I said, I think the Xbox One is just better. But we'll see, because hopefully they're both really good. So when it comes down to it, which one, even in 2020, is better? Xbox has made a lot of strides. A lot of good games have come out for Xbox, and everything's gotten better since the Xbox came out. But PlayStation, being tried and true and just doing it right the first time, everything has stayed consistently amazing on PlayStation throughout the entire generation. So PlayStation 4 is still better. I think it still edges everything out. That's not to say that the Xbox One is bad. It's not bad at all. I think it's actually very good, particularly with the release of the One S and the sort of removal of all the always on feature and all that stuff, and the eye that's always watching you and all of that. Xbox has really done a lot of things right. And as far as subscription services are concerned, this is the last thing we're going to talk about. Xbox has the better subscription service. Game Pass is awesome. So much better than PS Plus. Although PS Plus is getting better, but Game Pass is awesome. You get every new game that comes out for Xbox when it comes out on Game Pass. You could download Gears 5 immediately, as soon as it came out, and play through Gears 5, which, like I said, was the best exclusive on Xbox. And it just continues to be good. Forza Horizon 4, which is still a $60 game, just came out at the end of last year. You can just have it and play it on the Xbox Live and the Game Pass. Game Pass is great. Xbox Live is good. It's always been the best. It was the OG. The connection's always been stable. You've always had to pay to play online with Xbox, but it's always been stable, especially when the gaming on the internet via console was very, very new. Xbox Live was the way to go. The PlayStation Network is better, and it's stable now. You probably don't remember when it wasn't stable, but it's not as good as the Xbox Live services are. So Xbox Live is better than PS Plus. However, PS Plus usually does push out better games. So they both give you 2 free games a month. PlayStation usually gives you better games, generally, as far as I've seen, but that's just because the Xbox Live is overall a better service. PS Plus, not as great as the Xbox Game Pass. It's getting better. They just added Horizon Zero Dawn and God of War and all that, but now that stuff comes bundled with the system, so it's a little bit of overkill because they're the same games. So, if they threw Ghost of Tsushima on there day one, it might catch up a little faster. But I don't think they're going to do that. So, as far as the services you pay for, the Xbox ones are better, but everything else is pretty much better on PlayStation. So, value-wise, what's going to be your best bet here in 2020? Well, they cost about the same now, and they've both got hundreds and hundreds of games on them. So, if you're looking for some value and you haven't upgraded to the current generation yet, this might be the year you want to do it, because still good stuff coming out for the rest of the year. Things are cheap. Tons of a good library of games for both systems. I would say the PS4 beats out the Xbox One, but you can't go wrong with either. And in 2020, console gaming is looking awesome. Just gaming in general is looking awesome. It's going to be awesome going forward. Very excited about it. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Please make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Cheers to you. I'll see you next time.